Hello, my name is Mr. Nozzy and welcome once again to another Eve tutorial. Hello, my name is Mr. Nozzy and welcome once again to another Eve tutorial. If you haven't already checked out our previous tutorial, make sure to give that a look. That is a tutorial on beginners mining, and today we will be looking at the basics of skill books. Now, first off, we're just going to be looking at how you would train skills and basically what it is. So basically, character skill growth in Eve happens in real time. Now, this does remain distinctive amongst quite a few MMOs. Now, the training happens in real time, even when you're not playing. Now, this can basically gain you new abilities and skills in a few minutes or over several weeks, depending on the skill book complexity. Now, skill advancement is key to a pilot's progression in this game, so it's pretty important. Now, the more you progress in that area, the easier it is basically to achieve your goals. When you create a new pilot, you get some basic skills. You can open the character sheet up here at the top of the Neocom, then go to the skills section. Sorry if I click on that one there. And then go to the skills section, which is already highlighted. Basically, you have these different options here. So if you click on the skills section, and then basically, if you have already got the skill book, you can train the skills that you want. Say for example in engineering, and I've bought the energy grid upgrades, you right click it and then click train to level 3, and then you would open up the training queue and it basically tells you what you're training here. So that's all pretty easy. Now, as training continues when you're logged off, it's good to train short skills whilst online and longer ones whilst you're offline to get the most out of it, and it's quite a good habit to get into. Now, to switch a skill, simply start training a new one, and like I said, you do this by finding these skills that you want here. For example, mass production. You then right click on that and then click train now to level 3, and it says that you're currently training one and do you want to put it in front of the queue. You click OK, and then all you have to do is open the training queue there, and then you can see that it's now being trained. So I don't want to train that one at the moment, so I can then just simply drag that back off like so and click apply. Always remember to click apply at the end. Even if you don't, you click off, it will tell you that you haven't clicked apply, and it will then ask you to do so. Now, the points gathered on the previous skills won't be lost, but you won't benefit from it until the skill is fully completed, so make sure you do go back to it and train it later. You can only train one character per account and one skill per character at a time, so bear that in mind if you've got multiple characters. Okay, so now quickly we're going to look at the skill requirements for items. Now, to determine which skills you need to train for the specific item that you want to buy, all you have to do is right click on the item and show info, and then go to prerequisites. Now, if I go to the market, I can show you how to do this. So basically we have the items here, and say for example we have the large shield boosters available to us. Now, all I have to see, as well as it being in the menu here, you click on the eye, move this out of the way, and then you have this kind of information pane here. This tells you the description of the item, the attributes, the fitting, and this is the one that's important. You have to go to prerequisites, and then this will tell you what you need to train to be able to use it. Now, you need both the primary and secondary skills to use the items. At the moment I've only got primary skills here, so let's see if I can find an item with secondary skills as well. Let's see what this one says. No, that one's only primary. Maybe propulsion. Let's have a look in. Oh, hull and arm, okay. There we go, that one's got primary and secondary. So both the primary and secondary skills need to be trained in order to use the item. Now, the green check mark that you see here means that the minimum requirements have been met to actually use the item. So I can actually use a large armor repairer depending on if it can be used on a certain ship. If it's a yellow circle, it means you haven't learnt some of the skill but still needs further learning to meet the minimum requirement. And a red X means that the skill has not been trained at all. So bear that in mind, obviously, before you can try to use the item. Make sure that you've trained everything up properly. Now we're going to be looking at the skill settings. So if I close these down. Right. So basically you have to go to the character sheet in the skills area. Now this shows different options for displaying your pilot's skill lists. So now if we go to settings here. And like I said, this shows different options for displaying a pilot skill list. Now the first one is only show my current skills, which is selected there. Now this basically means it only displays the skills that you have learnt or started to learn. The next one here, it says only show skills that I can currently train. This shows the ones that you've trained or partially trained. It also shows skills that you meet the prerequisites to train, even if you don't have the skill book yet. So this can be useful when looking to see if usually to see what skills you want to train next. Next we have show all skills. This just basically shows you all skills in the game. That's pretty obvious. And then finally highlight partially trained skills. And again, that's pretty self-explanatory. Ones that you haven't actually finished training yet. Now the next question that may be on your mind are, where you would buy skill books. Now basically you can buy skill books on the market from NPC Corps, or they can be resold by players on the market. So let me just show you here. If we go to market and take this up, and then here near the bottom you see skills, and then it has all the different sections that the skill books fall under. So be sure to know kind of what section it would be. So for example, if you wanted to learn how to use missiles, obviously you scroll down to missile launcher. Yep, here we go, and you've got like light missiles, lots of different things here. So that's basically the way you're going to be finding them. And also skill books can be looted from ships on missions, so that's another good way to get them. But obviously you don't necessarily know what you're going to get, so it just might be potluck, sometimes if you get some at all. So some skill books are race specific skills and are only sold in that faction space. If they are sold outside, they may be significantly more expensive, so bear this in mind. So if you are wanting to go and train a certain skill, you might have to go to a faction space to do so. Now you will only have to buy a skill book once, as long as you inject the skill book into the training queue. So basically what I mean by that is, imagine that we have a skill book in our items. You would simply right click it and then it would come up saying inject the skill. And if you inject the skill, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily training it. All that will mean is that it will then be stored in your skill book list of ones that you already have. Then you would have to right click on it and then train now to level 3, like so. And you can also just train it straight away by right clicking on a book and then clicking train now to level 3. So just make sure if you inject the skill that you then go and train it then afterwards. Now some skills can't be trained on trial accounts and are marked in the description of that skill, so do make sure you take care with that, because like I said, you may buy a skill and it may cost you a lot of money, and then you may end up finding that you can't actually use it. Okay, so just some important points on being podded. It's always important to be fitted with a clone that covers all of your skill points. Now, if I can show you here, my current skills are 1,303,042, and the current clone that I have got covers 1,380,000 skill points. So if I were to get podded, that basically means if your ship is blown up and the pod that's left gets destroyed, then I am covered and I will get all my skill points back basically when my clone is activated. Now to upgrade this, which I'm going to be doing soon anyway, you go over here to the right hand side and click insurance. No, sorry, I take that back. What you actually have to do is be in a medical station, and basically there will be a little icon here which has like a cross on it, basically standing for medical station. You simply click on that and choose your clone. So basically what I will do now is undock and hop to another station that has one so I can demonstrate this. So I will see you in a second. Okay, so we're back, and now you can see that we're in a different station with a medical facility, and this is what you want to click on to basically upgrade your clone to make sure that your skill points are covered. So you can see that I have got clone grade beta at the moment, which covers 1,380,000 skill points. Like I said, so I am covered if I die now, and I will keep all of my skill points. Now you can basically change the station that your clone goes to when you die. So all you have to do is click change station and then choose the station that you want in the system, for example. Now I don't want to do that because where I'm set to it's fine. And if you want to upgrade this clone, which I'm going to have to do because I am very close to that limit, I click upgrade clone and it basically gives you a list of all the different clones here. You can see that You can keep up to 450 million points. Now it's going to cost you 150 million ISK. That's the very highest one, clone grade Omega. Now I had clone grade Beta, which covers 1,380,000, and I'm going to want to go for the next one up, which is going to cost me 2,050,000 ISK. So that is quite a lot of money. So just do be aware of that. But at the end of the day, sorry, that's 65,000 ISK, and it's going to keep 2,050,000 skill points. So that's the next one up for me. So that's what I will be doing. So if I double click on that one, it's going to pay 65,000 ISK. And click yes, and there we go. So now I'm covered for quite a while. So that's pretty simple how you do that. And if you're wondering what happens if you do die and you're not covered, if you get potted and you don't have sufficient cover, you lose 5% of the difference between the clone you have and the skill points trained. Now these points are taken from the category you have trained the most, so it can be pretty gutting because you're going to have to back and do that all again. And like I said, you do have skill books on certain levels which can take 22 days to complete, so do make sure you're covered. Now yeah, also just make sure you purchase a clone that has enough room to train within for a while, otherwise you're going to be upgrading your clone quite often and it can be quite expensive. So once you are podded, you will go back down to the basic insurance of 900,000 skill points, and you will want to upgrade that clone straight away, and you will want to do that if you are living in like 0.0 space, and it's recommended to set a home station to one with a medical facility. This basically means that there's no danger of being podded a second time before you can go from one station to another with a medical station to upgrade your clone again. There's no danger of you being podded that second time. Now, updating and moving clones is done in stations inside a medical facility, and I did just show you that there, so hopefully you've got some idea of how to do that. Okay, so now I'm just going to quickly briefly tell you which skills to train for your career. Now, many new pilots have some idea of the career they want to get into, for example, mining or fighting. I was mining when I started, and I wasn't sure how to go about training the skills that I need to. So from the training perspective, all you have to do, I've put the link down below in the description. See the link, and it will give you suggestions on what to train to help you get started in your specific industry, for example mining, or if you want to go into fighting. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up this video. If I have missed things out that you can think of and you want to ask questions for, do ask me questions in the comments below. Thumbs up if you like the video, thumbs down if you don't. I'd like to hear why, because I want to improve my videos all the time. Be sure to look at our Facebook and our Twitter page, which is just Gamelock Reviews. We have news on all our videos that we put up, and just interesting bits of news as well. Yep, so I will see you guys next time for another EVE tutorial, and I hope you like the video. See you later, guys.